when people walk round the parish boundaries to learn where they are. It's the only traditional religious procession allowed by law since the Reformation. The Tudors banned religious processions because of their connection with the Catholic Church, but they let this one alone because they wanted people to know the boundaries of their parish.
That's why we've been all the way around.
Oh.
It's quite a long way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. And there's the church over there, as you can see. Oh, can you see it on the map there?
Under the Tudors, the centre of local government was the parish, the area of land attached to the parish church. This is the village of Little Waldingfield in Suffolk. Everyone lived in a parish, and by law, everyone was supposed to go to church on Sundays. So, once a week, when the people of the parish came together, they could find out what was going on. Justices of the peace, appointed in the county, made sure that laws were passed on at parish level. And since the parish had always elected its own officials to carry out church laws, the Tudors found it useful to get these officials to carry out the laws of the state. So the parish became responsible for things like maintaining roads, raising taxes, keeping law and order, and above all, seeing to the poor. Though they made a distinction between the professional beggar and the deserving poor.
You all right, boy?
Charity! Charity, kind sir!
I ain't got nothing. I'm bare poor.
Charity!
I ain't worked for 6 weeks, so no use you gibble-gabblings on like that. Here, a minute past you was walking all wanky. Now you're...
My glazes are acting up something terrible. I thought you was a merchant or something.
No, I's a field worker. Or I was. I'm from over in there, about 10 mile. John. Your house nearby then, boy.
Do me a favour. You can come from round here if you pay me. I can't stand all them trees and things. From London, I.
I knew you was a foreigner, boy, on account of you do talk all peculiar. I bet you ain't got no work, same as I. Before, I was working on the field, labouring. But since them enclosures, it ain't I be doing that again. He do prefer sheep in his fields now. What be your trade, then?
Trade? What do you think I am, stupid or something?
So how's you live?
By me wits. I did have a job once. I couldn't seem to take to it for some reason. With this nobleman it was, you know, travelling round with him, helping out with this and that. Bit of fighting. Nice house. But I always seemed to be doing all the work, while he just sat around on his backside doing nothing. Well, I thought, this is not on. So now it's just me and Walter and the open road.
Walter?
You stick with me, son. You could learn a thing or two to your advantage. Are you hungry then? There you are.
Go. Or it do taste of soap something awful.
Yeah, I'll have some water then. There we are. And shake a bit too. God bless you, my lady. Could you spare a penny for my poor sick friend?
No.
He's ever so sick.
I see that afore. That be the old soap trick.
Old?
Do you know, boy, you ain't alone in knowing how to get your hands on a nice bung full of shells.
Pretty doxy. And one of us too.
I was.
Yeah? What you doing now then?
I's a spinner.
On your way home, are you?
No, I've been enough spinning to keep I. Being as how there's a slump in the cloth trade. So it's working a bit, don't the alehouse? 'Tis on the right, a 4-cross road, and you do a middling good brew. Your friend get better quick, didn't he?
Oh, dear me. You've got a lot to learn.
All I want is a job. I can't beg, can't do it no how.
Oh, we'll see. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll introduce you to Walter.
Coping with growing numbers of poor people was one of the biggest problems for Tudor governments. Within 100 years, the population grew by 40%, but the number of jobs didn't keep pace. Now, most people worked on the land, but English wool made very good cloth, so lots of farmers grew wool instead of crops. A farmer who'd needed 8 or 10 men to plough and plant and harvest only needed one shepherd. So many farm labourers lost their jobs. But the cloth industry had its ups and downs as well, and there were often lots of spinners and weavers out of work. And to make matters worse, prices were rising all the time, while wages were falling.
Ah, that must be the alehouse. You go down to the village and get some loaves of bread or something. I'll get water and we'll meet you at the alehouse.
Yeah, look, I ain't got them.
Oh, see where working gets ya? Yeah.
Well, I never.
Walter. Yeah, don't laugh. Walter's just bought us drinks. I told him I'd lost my leg in Lord Essex's raid on Cadiz. They can't part with their money quick enough.
You're off, my dear.
Yeah. Is that it? That all?
Bread were a pretty penny and all.
Of course it were. Beer and bread's all made from crop, isn't it?
So how's come we's having to pay more and more for it? So varsy.
Look, you. This here is likely to be corn and barley what was grown years ago.
She's explaining, isn't she?
And this here is like to be people what was round years ago. Plenty of corn and barley and that. And like a small amount of people, so them have a right lot of bread, them do. Then you got enclosures.
'Tis them what took my job.
So now tain't crops in fields, 'tis sheep. So you got less crops. But you like to get more and more people all the time on account of the way them carries on. So now, all them folks, they all does want this tiny bit of corn and barley.
So the price goes up. Well, it's obvious, isn't it?
And you got sniff no work then?
No, I ain't got nothing, no how. You word on any?
I ain't neither. See what you said with them new laws. That constable think you was a beggar, then you got reason to be afeard. Last him catched, he give him such a whipping that he busted up blaring just like a child.
Hey, my Doxy, how about coming on the road with me? But with your brains and my good looks, we could make a fortune.
No. Cloth trade's like pick up soon.
More ale!
And this here job, I give it back again. Go on and see Vicar. You won't got nothing from no one else round here.
Yeah. And he's not likely to turn away an old veteran from Cadiz, is he?
In earlier times, the church, especially monks, had supported the poor. They ran hospitals and almshouses and gave food or money to beggars. But when Henry VIII got rid of the monasteries, the poor became the government's problem. Though often, wealthy laymen would help by founding almshouses for the old and sick, like these. The government didn't know what to do about the poor, especially the unemployed. They seemed to believe that many people were lazy and didn't want to work, so they passed laws to punish them for not working. The job of enforcing these laws fell to the justices of the peace and the constable.
Well, Better show willing than have a quick pray.
I always go to church of a Sunday. Anyhow, it's the law.
I hate bleeding churches.
I thought as how you didn't like praying.
I can't get up, can I?
You've been struck by God, boy.
Nah, just on the straps up too tight, didn't I? Kiss the hand.
Oh, yes. And who might you be?
Could ask you the same question, couldn't we?
I'm the constable.
But we wouldn't.
And I won't have an ancient position mocked by a lummox like you.
Old war wound. Cadiz. Still plays me up on cold nights.
You two from this parish? Oh, we can check easy enough. Got all the names written down.
I hadn't. I was just looking for work.
You got beggar writ all over you.
He's not. Honest.
Ah, there you are, Constable. Just the man over.
Justice of the peace. That's handy. We could have you whipped and on your way in no time.
Been checking the parish registers. They seem to be all mixed up with... would you mind? Here somewhere.
Excuse me, sir.
Ah, yes. Now, what have we here?
Beggars, sir. Taking advantage, likely, of a poor ex-soldier.
Cadiz, sir.
I just want work, sir.
I wish I could give you some of mine. Look at this. Road repairs, checking people don't hoard grain, keeping ale houses in order. Then there's beggars who don't belong here. They've got to be whipped.
Until bloody.
Exactly, and sent on their... What? Well, how am I to know who are returning soldiers and harvest workers and who are beggars?
It must be very difficult for you.
It all takes time. Enclosures, there's another thing, stopping, all that.
Thy landowners is like to have enough from thy sheep to pay you to turn a blind eye, if I knows anything.
I can't say the money wouldn't come in handy. They don't pay me to be a JP, you know.
Nor me.
But no, I'd never take a bribe.
Well, seeing as you're such a busy man, we'll...
Busy? Oh. That's not the half of it. Court session's coming up. All this has to be dealt with. Murder, vagrancy...
This man's a vagrant.
Without me and the constable, the entire system would tumble down about our ears.
As a man who fought for his country, I know exactly...
What is it?
Old war wounds, sir, playing me up. I've got cramp in my leg and
You scheming rogue.
Thank you.
All I want is a job. Honest, sir, I's a good worker.
If we possibly could, we'd take you on the parish, but we have our hands full with our own poor. If you weren't born here, you have to return to your own parish. I'm afraid that's the new law. Now go quickly. Go on. Before that awful constable comes back.
Today, your county record office looks after all the old parish registers, and some of them even have records going back as far as Elizabethan times. That's one of the reasons that we know so much about the Elizabethan poor laws. We know that church wardens had to keep a record of all the needy in the parish, raise money to support them, and note how much the poor received. Now, this old writing is very difficult to read, and the archivist gave me quite a bit of help. So I know that this document says, distribution by Edward Hayward and Louis Mortlock, church wardens of the parish of Clare. That's near Little Waldingfield. As followeth. To Mother Illingworth, 4pence. To Ursula Potter, 3pence. To Clym Bateman, 2pence. To Goody Gost, 3pence. And the money's in Roman numbers. Most of the people in need seem to be women. That's rather like today. Now, by Elizabeth's Acts of 1598 and 1601, this money to support the poor was raised from the better off. And if they refused to contribute, they could be fined. And in this document, we've got some of their names. Money received for the contribution. Received more of Mr. Tyler of London. So he was probably a local boy who'd made good. Received of Sylvester Strutt, and so on. Altogether, £15 was collected for the poor. The people who collected it were called overseers of the poor. They were chosen from well-off householders. They too could be fined if they refused to do the job, though, like most local government work, it was unpaid. Here are some of the overseers' names: Gregory Hubbard, George Bloomfield, John Cadge, and Francis Cross, who signed his name with an X. Obviously, he couldn't write. As well as recording how the poor law was carried out, the parish was supposed to keep a list of who lived there, and the vicar usually made a register of births, marriages, and deaths. So if you're interested in local history, you can find out quite a lot about the way people used to live from information like this. Now, while Elizabeth's government did recognise the need to help the poor who lived all the time in one particular parish, it still ordered the able-bodied unemployed, especially beggars and wanderers, to be punished. They could be branded, whipped, imprisoned, or put in the stocks. The stocks don't sound too bad, just a bit uncomfortable. But supposing you had enemies. But not all these laws were carried out. Some were too harsh, even for the 16th century. Some were just not enforced by the overworked JPs. Except in some towns, Tudor government just wasn't as efficient as it tried to be.
Hello, hello. I was beginning to think you got lost.
I thought the constable got you, boy.
Nah, took me leg off and hit him with it, didn't I? They'd lost that place, wasn't it?
Never you mind. Sure to be working the next big town.
Make me feel ill with all this talk about work. Listen, you've got to be careful. Places like Norwich, which is a very big town, are horrible. You can't beg nor nothing, and they gone and took a census.
What are a census?
Well, you know, who lives there, what their jobs are, who's sick, who's unemployed, all written down. It's a downright liberty. You can't do nothing because they know for certain who shouldn't be in the parish. Bit like that place back there, except they do it proper.
Yeah, it's in a big town. If you do want work, why they give you some? Parish give wool if you want to weave, or iron.
It's all right for you. But for the likes of me, they gone and built houses of correction, haven't they? Horrible places. You work, you won't believe this, you work from 5 in the morning till 8 at night. Half an hour to eat and 15 minutes to pray. And I don't even like praying. You don't work, you don't eat. Well, it's not natural, is it?
You should try working the fields, boy.
I put it down to these Protestants myself. Work and pray, work and pray. It was better off for them Catholics, I can tell you.
By the end of Elizabeth's reign, though the law remained harsh to the unemployed, the government had realised that most of the poor couldn't, rather than wouldn't, support themselves. So, I wonder what happened to the 3 we've heard about in the programme. The labourer went to the market cross each day.
Need any labouring, sir?
Well, if it happened, I could use a good strong lad at the moment. You ever work with sheep?
Yes, sir. It's a good
He only got work on a casual basis, but at least he didn't starve. The vagabond was caught begging in an alehouse and forced to become a soldier. He didn't like it. It was too much like hard work. The girl was the luckiest. The cloth trade picked up, so she was able to go back to her trade as a spinner. And soon after, she married a man she'd met in the alehouse. I wonder if life was any easier by the time her baby grew up.
Hark, hark, the dogs do bark. The beggars are coming to town. Some in rags and some in jags and one in a velvet gown.